Commander Marcus Chen stood at the viewport of the diplomatic vessel Harmony, watching the crystalline spires of Zephyria Prime gleam under the twin suns. 3 years had passed since first contact with the Zephyrian Empire, and humanity had finally earned an audience with their enigmatic ruler. What they hadn't expected was for their entire delegation to fall under the spell of Queen Lyrillith. The Zephyrian Queen was unlike anything in human experience. Her form seemed to shift between states of matter, sometimes appearing as flowing, liquid starlight, other times as solid crystal formations that caught and refracted light into mesmerizing patterns. Her voice resonated with harmonic frequencies that seemed to bypass the ears entirely and speak directly to one's consciousness. When she moved, reality itself seemed to bend around her, creating ripples in space-time that made observers feel they were witnessing something divine. Marcus had been chosen to lead the diplomatic mission not for his political acumen, but for his unique gift. Among humans, he was what they called a reader, someone capable of perceiving and interpreting the emotional resonances of alien species. It was a rare ability that had proven invaluable in establishing peaceful relations with 17 different civilizations. But with Queen Lyrillith, his gift had become both a blessing and a curse. From their first meeting in the palace's great hall, Marcus found himself drowning in the depths of her alien consciousness. Through his reader abilities, he could sense layers upon layers of ancient wisdom, profound loneliness, and an otherworldly beauty that transcended physical form. The Queen had ruled for over 3 millennia, watching civilizations rise and fall while she remained constant, unchanging, eternal. In her presence, Marcus felt both insignificantly small and remarkably important, as if his very existence had somehow registered on her cosmic awareness. The diplomatic sessions had stretched on for weeks. Trade agreements, territorial boundaries, technology exchanges, all the mundane necessities of interstellar relations. But Marcus found himself increasingly distracted by the Queen's presence. During breaks between negotiations, he would catch glimpses of her in the palace gardens, tending to impossible flowers that seemed to grow from pure light. She would sometimes pause in her work and look directly at him through the crystal walls, as if she knew he was watching. It was Ambassador Zhang who finally confronted him about his obvious distraction. "Commander, I've been doing this for 30 years, and I've never seen someone so completely entranced by an alien leader. You need to maintain professional distance." Marcus knew Zhang was right, but explaining the depth of what he sensed from the Queen seemed impossible. Through his reader abilities, he perceived that beneath her regal composure lay a being of profound emotion and startling vulnerability. She had ruled alone for millennia, making decisions that affected billions of lives while carrying the weight of absolute responsibility. In quiet moments, he sensed her wondering if she would ever find someone who could understand the burden of her existence. The breakthrough came during the final negotiation session. The Zephyrian Empire had agreed to all of humanity's proposals with surprising generosity. As the formal ceremonies concluded and the diplomatic teams prepared to depart, Marcus found himself alone with the Queen in her private observatory. "Your species fascinates me, Commander Chen," she said, her harmonic voice filling the crystalline chamber. "In 3,000 years of rule, I have encountered many civilizations, but humans possess something unique." "What might that be, Your Majesty?" Marcus asked, struggling to keep his professional composure while his reader abilities were overwhelmed by waves of ancient longing emanating from her. "Hope," she replied simply. "Every other species I have known accepts their limitations and works within them. Humans consistently attempt to transcend what they are to become something greater. It is both admirable and terrifying." Marcus felt his heart racing as she moved closer, her form shifting from crystalline solid to flowing energy and back again. "I sense something in you, Commander. Your gift allows you to perceive emotional resonances, does it not?" He nodded, unable to speak. "Then you know what I am about to say," she continued, her ancient eyes seeming to look directly into his soul. "You have sensed the loneliness of millennia, the weight of decisions that span geological ages, the burden of perfection that my people expect from their eternal ruler." Marcus's professional restraint finally cracked. The weeks of sensing her profound isolation, of feeling the depths of her alien but recognizable emotions, of being drawn to a being so far beyond his understanding, yet somehow achingly familiar, it all came pouring out in a whispered confession he thought no one could hear. "I wish I could marry her," he breathed, the words escaping before he could stop them. The Queen's form suddenly shifted, becoming more solid, more present. She turned to face him fully, and for the first time since their initial meeting, Marcus sensed surprise radiating from her consciousness. "My answer is yes," she said quietly. Marcus stared at her in shock. "Your Majesty, You think I did not hear your whispered words, Commander Chen. You think I have not sensed your emotional resonance as clearly as you sense mine? For 3,000 years I have ruled alone, making decisions in isolation, carrying burdens no other being could comprehend. Then arrives a human who can perceive the depths of my existence, who sees past the divine facade to the being beneath." She moved closer, her form now almost entirely human in appearance, though still possessed of an otherworldly luminescence. "Your species' greatest strength is not your technology or your adaptability," she continued. "It is your capacity for connection across impossible barriers. You have spent weeks reading my emotional state, but you failed to realize that I was reading yours as well. Your admiration, your growing affection, your desire to ease the loneliness you sensed. It has all been quite clear to me." Marcus struggled to process what was happening. "But the differences between us, the biological incompatibilities, the political implications, are obstacles that can be overcome by beings determined enough to try," the Queen interrupted. "My people believe in the concept of resonance, that consciousness can harmonize across any divide if the fundamental frequencies match. Yours resonates with mine in ways I had thought impossible." She extended what appeared to be a hand, though it flickered between flesh, crystal, and pure energy. "The formal answer to your unspoken proposal, Commander Marcus Chen, is yes. If you are willing to bridge the gap between species, between mortal and eternal, between the small and the infinite, then I am willing to learn what it means to no longer rule alone." As Marcus reached out to take her offered hand, he realized that humanity's greatest diplomatic triumph had just become something far more personal and profound. In a universe full of impossible distances and incomprehensible differences, two conscious beings had found a way to connect across the vast, divide between species, between worlds, between the finite and the eternal. The marriage of Marcus Chen and Queen Lyrelith would become the stuff of legend, not just as a triumph of human diplomacy, but as proof that consciousness, in all its forms, seeks connection above all else. In the vast, cold universe, the greatest victory was not conquest or dominance, but the simple, profound act of two beings choosing to understand each other despite every barrier that separated them. Years later, when asked how humanity had managed to forge such an unprecedented alliance with the Zephyrian Empire, Marcus would simply smile and say that sometimes the most important diplomatic tool wasn't negotiation or trade agreements. It was the willingness to recognize that beneath every alien exterior beat a heart that longed to be understood.